How to start an online bookkeeping course in 2023. I started my bookkeeping business 3 years ago, and it allowed me to quit my full-time job, and now I support my family. I do a bookkeeping business online full-time, and it really has changed my life for the better. So I want in this video to talk pretty much 3 steps on how I started my online bookkeeping business back in 2020, and I think you'll be able to use these steps to help you also start an online bookkeeping business. So a little bit information about me. I have been making YouTube videos for almost 2 years now, and I talk a lot about QuickBooks, I talk a lot about bookkeeping, and I talk a lot about my trucking business. So for the past 2 years, I've had a trucking business, and I've been teaching other people how to start a trucking business. Unfortunately, my trucking company failed. So I just quit my trucking company in December of 2022, and I'm kind of still in the process of wrapping things up with that. And I'm going to switch a couple of my videos. So I've never done this before. I've never talked about how to start a bookkeeping business. It's something that I've been doing personally myself. I have a bookkeeping business and it's been wildly successful, but I've never really talked about it on YouTube. So this is my first time sharing some of the things that I've done specifically with my business in the past. I've talked openly, I've talked a lot about my trucking company, but I've never really talked about my bookkeeping business. But I figured it's mostly appropriate because I have been really successful with my bookkeeping business. I know exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So hopefully, if you are an aspiring bookkeeper, hopefully this video helps you. And this is just the very first video I've ever made talking about how to start a bookkeeping business. I definitely plan on making a lot more videos, a lot more detail. I might make a course, and I also have a link in the description. So if you are interested in talking with me or meeting with me, doing a Zoom call, however you want to meet, the link in the description, you can schedule a meeting with me either for 30 minutes or 1 hour. So click the link, check it out. I'd be happy to talk with you if you are a trucking company, if you are a business owner, if you are an aspiring online bookkeeping business owner, whatever you want to talk about. I know a lot about bookkeeping, I know a lot about taxes, trucking, and generally how to start and run a business. So whatever you want to talk about, the link is in the description. Schedule a meeting with me. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 3 things on how to start a bookkeeping business, an online bookkeeping business in 2023. So this has been really incredible for me because I can work from home, I can work from anywhere, I can service clients all over the country, and you really don't need to have a lot of money upfront invested in this business. So I'm going to talk about the things that I bought, the things that I did, and how I got started. So first of all, you need to have a basic understanding of accounting, a basic understanding of bookkeeping, and a basic understanding of QuickBooks. You don't necessarily need to know a lot about taxes. You mostly just need to know a lot about bookkeeping and QuickBooks. So for me, was already taking an intro to accounting course. So this is back in the fall of 2020. So 3 years ago, I started taking college classes for accounting. And before that, I had 0 experience with accounting. I didn't know anything about debits and credits or assets and liabilities or bank account reconciliations. I didn't know anything about starting a business. I didn't know anything about accounting in August of 2020 before I started my very first class. So I am a veteran, and it was free. I took an intro to accounting class at Penn State online campus, so it was completely free for me. If you are not a veteran, it's a little bit expensive. So if you're thinking about taking an online class, like an intro to accounting class, it's probably going to cost you about $2,000 plus whatever the extra fees are for books. So keep that in mind before you take an online class, because if you're not a veteran and you can't do it for free and you don't already have an accounting background, you can probably do your own research. You could probably learn almost all of this information for free on the internet. So if you really want to take an online college class, do it. But if you want to save money, do a little bit of research on your own, you can probably just buy a textbook and do some research on your own and get just as good of an education as you would if you went to a traditional college. So there are some basic accounting concepts that you definitely need to understand before you start bookkeeping. For example, you need to understand debits and credits. You need to understand accounts payable and accounts receivable. You need to have a pretty good understanding of assets, liabilities, and equity and how they show up on your balance sheet. you need to understand a profit and loss statement or an income statement. You've got revenue, and then you've got cost of goods sold, gross margin, gross profit, expenses, net income. You need to understand financial statements pretty good, because that's kind of the whole purpose of a bookkeeper. You categorize your transactions, you reconcile your accounts, then you generate these financial statements. Like, that's pretty much the whole reason why a business owner would hire you as a bookkeeper, so that you can produce these organized, well-maintained financial statements like your profit and loss and your balance sheet. So you need to understand how to do that, and you need to understand assets, liabilities, and equity. And then finally, you need to be generally good with math. You need to generally understand numbers and how to analyze data, because as a bookkeeper, as an accountant, that's what you're going to be doing on a daily basis. Addition, subtraction, math, numbers, analyzing data, basic math. Okay, so you need to have a basic understanding of accounting, and then you need to kind of understand, obviously, how to start a business. In this video, I'm not going to talk about how to generally start a business. I'm talking more about how to start a bookkeeping business. So I'm going to skip like all of the like form an LLC, do this, do that. Like, I'm not talking broadly about how to start a business, because you can do any quick Google search and find that information out. I'm talking specifically once you've already kind of done the administrative paperwork to get your business started. I'm talking about the steps you need to take to start an online bookkeeping business. So you need to have a general understanding of accounting. And what I did, not necessarily saying you need to do this, but I invested in an online bookkeeping course. So I did some research on YouTube, probably like you're doing right now, found a video, found a bookkeeping course, and there are some pros and there are some cons associated with getting a bookkeeping specific course. So I just got it from some random YouTuber, and I watched his videos, I followed along on his channel for a couple weeks, and I decided to take the next step and invest in his bookkeeping course. And there are some pros that I'll go over first. It gave me a lot of confidence. That was probably the best thing about the course. After I was done with the course, I was like, okay, I am ready to be a bookkeeper. Like, I took this course, I'm legit, I know what to do now. So it gave me a lot of confidence. Second of all, it did have very specific information about how to start a bookkeeping business. Like, it did give you very specific tips and tricks and pointers on QuickBooks and how to use QuickBooks. And it gave me very specific information on like marketing, what to do, and it also gave me a website and business card templates. So it kind of walked you through step by step, like how to send emails to prospective clients and how to do marketing, and it showed you how to set up your website. It gave you business cards. So like there were very specific things that were helpful, but the course cost $800. So if I can go back in time, for sure I would not do that, because I know that it was not worth $800. But in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing, and so it did give me a lot of confidence to start my bookkeeping business. So I am where I am today because I spent that $800 3 years ago, but if I can go back in time, I wouldn't do it. I'm not telling you not to do it, but I'm just telling you that you probably can learn all the information on your own without spending $800. But it will give you a sense of confidence. Okay, so the number one thing that you need before you start an online bookkeeping business is you need a basic understanding of accounting, and you also need a basic understanding of QuickBooks. So you can take the online class, you can do the research to learn accounting and bookkeeping, but you need to understand QuickBooks, because that is the number one accounting software for small business owners. So you need to understand how to use it. Like, bookkeeping in and of itself is pretty easy, but using the specific software of QuickBooks is where things get complicated. But the really cool thing is you can get an account as an accountant for QuickBooks for free. And once you get that account, then you can take a course to become a certified QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Now, this is very important because this kind of establishes you on QuickBooks website as this certified professional. So people can actually go onto QuickBooks and they can try to find a pro advisor in their area. So if you are listed in your hometown, type in your zip code in QuickBooks as a certified pro advisor, other people can find you directly through QuickBooks. I've gotten probably 3 or 4 clients this way. So you need a basic understanding of bookkeeping and accounting, and you also need a QuickBooks account, and you don't need to, but I highly recommend you become a certified QuickBooks pro advisor. The course is actually pretty difficult. It teaches you a good amount of information about how to use QuickBooks, but there are certification exams at the end of the course, and the tests are actually really hard. Like, I'll be honest with you, I failed the first time I took it, but luckily they give you 3 different tries to pass the exams. It's like a 6-part test. I failed the first time I took it, but the second time I took it, luckily I did pass, so I did get that certification. But it's pretty difficult exam, to be honest, but it's super important. So I definitely recommend, once you have a basic understanding of accounting and bookkeeping, get that online account for QuickBooks because it's completely free, and then get that certification as a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. Because whenever you're talking to clients, you might not have an accounting background, you might not be a CPA, but you can reassure them that you are a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. So yeah, I know what I'm talking about because I'm legit, I'm certified. And okay, so that's the first thing you need. You need the knowledge, you need the understanding of bookkeeping, QuickBooks, and accounting. Now the second thing you need are supplies. And that's what I talked about in the beginning of this video. Really cool business because you don't need to spend a lot of money up front. I got 4 things for supplies. I got a laptop, which was $520. I got the QuickBooks course, which was $800, which, like I said before, not super necessary. I got a website, which cost me $75. Definitely recommend you get a website because this is a professional service and it establishes a level of legitimacy for you and your business. Even if you're brand new, you want to have a website, you want to have a professional email. You don't want to have, just a Facebook landing page. You don't want to just have a Google My Business page. Although those things are important, you want to have a legitimate website. So I got laptop, QuickBooks course, a website, and business cards. Spent $16 on business cards. I've handed out maybe 2 of them in the past 3 years. So if I can go back in time, probably wouldn't get business cards. It's just, we're in a digital age today. People don't really ask for business cards. I do almost all of my business online, through the phone, through email anyway, so I'm not really meeting a ton of people in person. Don't need business cards. I wouldn't recommend that anybody else get business cards, but I spent $16 on it, not the end of the world. So those are the supplies I got. Super cheap. For like less than $1,500 all in, you can start a bookkeeping business, and it can be even cheaper. You can do it for $600 if you don't get the QuickBooks, the bookkeeping course. Okay, so that's the knowledge you need, the supplies you need. Now I'm going to talk about my specific timeline. So like I said, I didn't know anything about bookkeeping or accounting before 2020. So in August of 2020, I started taking my very first accounting class. No prior knowledge. And then in October, 2 months later, I started researching how to start a bookkeeping business, and I found this course for $800. And then I took the next step, got the course, finished my research, finished the course, and then in November, I started doing online marketing. Got social media, started DMing people on Facebook and LinkedIn, started sending emails, and keep in mind, throughout this whole time, I had a full-time job. So the entire year, I had a full-time job. I took an online class, I took the bookkeeping course, I started marketing on social media, all while I was still working my full-time job. So I was doing this in the evenings, on the weekends, during my lunch break, whenever I had time. I was doing marketing, making social media posts, trying to make videos for the first time. And then in December, I got my very first client. So literally 2 months after I took the course, 1 month after I started marketing on social media, I got my very first client. They paid me like $200. It was the best day of my entire life. I couldn't believe it. I officially at that point felt like I started my online bookkeeping business. So if you have no knowledge of accounting, if you have no knowledge of bookkeeping or QuickBooks or business in general, then that's perfect, because in 4 months you can get your first client as long as you start today and follow these steps. Get a basic understanding of accounting and bookkeeping, get a basic understanding of QuickBooks, get a laptop, and start doing some digital social media marketing, and you can get your very first client. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to make a lot more videos walking through my timeline, explaining how I did what I did, specifically sales, marketing, bookkeeping, QuickBooks, specific tips and tricks for you, because it's worked so well for me. I want to share that information with you. So if you want, use the link in the description, schedule a consultation with me. I will help you with your business, bookkeeping, accounting, taxes, trucking, starting a bookkeeping business, whatever you want.